There are moments in life when something so simple, like a picture, carries more power than anyone expects. The angels are saying that when your person's friends saw your picture, their reaction was far from casual. It wasn't just about appearance, fashion, or the surface details people often notice first. What happened in that moment was deeper. It was a recognition, an awakening, and even a disturbance in their energy. They didn't just see your face, they felt your essence. And this essence carried something so strong, so different, that they couldn't put it into ordinary words. The angels revealed that your person's friends spoke with a kind of conviction that surprised even them. They said that your DNA seemed different, that there was something in your eyes, in your energy, that didn't belong to just one family or one ordinary background. To them, you didn't feel like someone who simply came from here. Instead, you felt cosmic, as though your energy was connected to something beyond Earth, beyond human history, beyond what they could explain. When they saw you, they didn't just think about beauty or personality. They felt like they were standing in front of something ancient and sacred. This reaction created silence in the room. It wasn't the silence of boredom or indifference. It was the silence that comes when something shifts deep inside and leaves people without words. Their souls recognized something their minds could not define. And in that moment, they felt awe, but they also felt fear. Not fear of you as a person, but fear of what your presence represented, something they couldn't control or fully understand. The angels want you to know that this is not about rejection. It is about reverence. When a soul meets energy that is powerful, transformative, and divinely coded, it can only respond in two ways: by bowing in awe or by resisting in fear. Some of your person's friends were caught between those two responses. They admired you, but at the same time, they felt uncomfortable because you reflected back to them their own hidden truths, the parts of themselves they haven't faced, the dreams they buried, the insecurities they tried to hide. You didn't ask them to feel this way. You didn't walk in trying to prove anything. You were simply being yourself. But your energy, your light, your very presence spoke louder than words. They couldn't explain it, but they knew it. Some of them whispered among themselves. Others grew quiet, but all of them felt it. They felt that you were not ordinary, that you were sent, that you carried a kind of spiritual DNA, a soul imprint that made them feel they were standing at a crossroads. For your person, this moment was especially important. Until then, their connection with you might have felt like attraction, curiosity, or interest. But when their friends saw your picture and reacted the way they did, something shifted for your person too. They realized this wasn't just about attraction. It was spiritual recognition. Your face, your presence, reminded them of something ancient, something they once dreamed of, or perhaps ran away from. You became more than just a person. They saw you as a sign, a turning point, a mirror of what their soul truly longed for. But with that realization came hesitation, because when something so sacred enters a person's life, it doesn't just fit neatly into their old patterns. It disrupts them. It forces them to choose between the old life and a new path. And this scared them. Your person wasn't afraid of you. They were afraid of what being with you would mean. They would no longer be able to live in denial, to keep repeating old habits, to settle for less than their soul's truth. You represented growth, change, awakening, and sometimes the soul freezes before it flies. The angels want to comfort you with this truth. What you felt after that moment, the pause, the hesitation, the tension, was not rejection, it was reverence. Your presence held so much power that it made people stop in their tracks. They didn't know how to respond. Some of them admired you deeply, others resisted, and some even felt envy, not because you did anything wrong, but because your light reminded them of everything they didn't chase for themselves. The angels are saying that your DNA, your energy, your presence carries codes of truth, wisdom, and royalty. You are not here to blend in or to be understood by everyone. You are here to awaken others. And that awakening is not always comfortable. It triggers people. It makes them question their choices, their illusions, their comfort zones. Some will rise to meet that challenge. Others will retreat. But either way, your presence leaves an impact that cannot be undone. When your person's friend said that your DNA was different, they were not just talking about genetics. They were speaking, without realizing it, about your spiritual DNA, the divine blueprint you carry. They felt that you weren't just a human being living an ordinary story. You were a soul carrying light codes from beyond, from other lifetimes, from the cosmos itself. They may not have had the words, but their souls knew. They recognized the divine walking in human form. And while this stirred fear and hesitation in some, for others it stirred hope. Your presence reminded them that purity, light, and truth still exist in this world. It gave them a glimpse of what life could be if they dared to believe in more, even if they didn't say it out loud. They felt it in their bodies. They knew that your presence was a sign that something big was about to shift, not just for your person, but for everyone connected to them. This is why the energy around you felt so intense after that moment. You might have sensed judgment, hesitation, or even coldness from some people. But the angels want you to know it was never really about you. It was about what you represented. You represented the end of small thinking, the end of illusions, the beginning of a new path. And that terrified them because change is never easy. But the angels say this clearly. You were not sent to be someone's safe option. You were sent to be their turning point. You are not just someone's partner. You are their call to destiny. And even if their friends resisted, even if they tried to downplay what they felt, deep down they knew the truth. They felt the shift. They saw that if your person chose you, everything in their life would change. And they were right. Because your presence is not here to fit into an old story. It is here to awaken a new one. So do not doubt yourself. Do not shrink your light just because others felt uncomfortable. Do not question your worth because of whispers or silence. Heaven saw it all. And heaven confirms it now. You were seen, deeply, truly, in a way that cannot be denied. You were recognized as a soul carrying divine light, a soul who changes everything. Your person felt it too, even if they hesitated, even if they struggled with the voices of others. In the quiet of their spirit, they knew the truth. They knew you were different. They knew you were meant, and that knowing cannot be erased, no matter how much fear or doubt surrounds it. The angels close this message with a reminder. You are not too much. You are not intimidating. You are sacred. Your presence is already the answer. Your being is already the message. You do not need to explain yourself. Those who are meant to see you clearly will see you. And when they do, the truth that was once feared will become the very path they will choose to follow. So, my beloved soul, remember this. You are not ordinary. You were sent. You are someone's turning point, their divine mirror, their invitation to rise into destiny. And no amount of doubt, hesitation, or resistance from others can change that truth. You are the light they could not unfeel, the flame they could not ignore, the sacred presence that awakened everything they had kept asleep. And one day, when the fear settles and the truth becomes undeniable, they will remember that the one they called different was the one who carried the light their soul had always longed for. There are rare moments in a person's life when something ordinary, like a photo, becomes extraordinary. The angels are showing you that this is exactly what happened when your person's friends looked at your picture. It wasn't just a casual glance at an image on a phone. It was a moment that reached far deeper than their eyes. They didn't just see a face. They felt a memory, a stirring, a deep recognition of something familiar but forgotten. It felt like a dream they couldn't quite remember, like an echo of a time before this time. Their physical eyes saw you, but their souls remembered you. This is why your light has appeared twice in readings. Heaven is insisting that you understand the depth of the energy you carry and what it means for your journey. When their souls recognized you, the room shifted. There was a hush, a pause. It wasn't about beauty or charm. It wasn't the usual, she's pretty, or he's handsome. It was a silence born of awe. You reminded them of someone from before, of something divine, of a promise they had long buried. In that instant, they weren't looking at an ordinary person. They were looking at stardust, at a soul whose light doesn't just fill a space but changes its frequency. Some of them admired you immediately. Some were confused. And some, though they might never admit it aloud, felt jealousy, not of your looks or clothes, but of the effortless soul light you carry. You weren't trying to outshine anyone. You simply were. But that very being stirred feelings in them, exposed shadows, and woke up longings they had stopped chasing years ago. Even a photograph carried this effect. This is why heaven repeats this message to you, not to flatter you, but to awaken you. Your person also felt it, but for them it wasn't confusion. It was truth. It was peace. It was a quiet inner knowing that you were not just another chapter, but the destiny they had prayed for without even knowing how to ask. When they showed your picture to others, it might have looked like they were asking for approval, but in truth they were testing the waters. They were trying to see if the world around them was ready to receive someone like you. But the truth is not everyone is ready. You carry ancient memories, cosmic purpose, and divine codes in your very being. These are things that shake people awake, whether you intend to or not. Some people feel threatened not because of anything you do, but because of what your presence reveals in them. The gaps, the shadows, the light they've stopped reaching for. This is why some deflected, whispered, or projected. But even then, they couldn't deny the feeling that your energy is rare, sacred, and unshakable. And now heaven is saying you need to know what they saw because you've spent too many nights shrinking, doubting, and waiting for others to recognize your worth. Your worth was never meant to be debated. It was meant to be remembered. And that remembering has begun. Your person's soul already knew. Others may speak from fear or envy, but it changes nothing about your path. You are the light they couldn't define and the soul they couldn't forget. When you enter a space, you don't just arrive. You silently realign destinies with your very presence. You are the miracle they didn't know how to name. There comes a point in every soul's journey when illusions must fall away, and the fog can no longer be justified. Truth slices through the silence like divine lightning. That is exactly what happened when your person's friends saw your picture. It was a spiritual strike, a moment of piercing recognition. They didn't just look at your photo. They felt it deep in their bones, in their subconscious, in the part of themselves where truth can't hide. Your energy carries clarity, not the kind that comes from outer beauty or charm, but the kind that comes from lifetimes of soul mastery encoded in your eyes, your presence, even your silence. It shook them because they weren't prepared to witness someone who embodied such unapologetic truth. Your photo didn't just show features. It revealed codes, divine messages, and a vibration that said, without a single word, I know who I am, even if you don't. People who are still hiding from their own truth will always feel unsettled by someone who walks in it so effortlessly. They spoke about your DNA with conviction, not because they understood it in a scientific sense, but because they couldn't look away. Some were in awe, some were intimidated, some tried to make light of it, but all of them felt the same blade of truth cutting through the air the moment they saw you. Heaven saw it too. Heaven saw how everything changed after that moment, how your person began to question the framework of their life, not because you demanded it, but because your presence alone revealed every lie they had been taught to live in. You became the dividing line between what was and what must now become. You were the sword sent to separate illusion from alignment. You were the mirror held up to their souls, and their souls said, this is real. But when people see something real for the first time, they either honor it or try to discredit it. And so the comments came, the doubt, the subtle warnings or comparisons, not because they didn't see your value, but because they saw it too clearly. Your worth shattered the comfort of mediocrity, and that kind of truth cannot be unseen. You did not come here to be liked by everyone. You did not come here to be validated by circles still learning to speak their soul's language. You came here to awaken, to speak without words, to pierce through layers of silence and show others what clarity feels like. That's why, when they saw your picture, they felt exposed. Your DNA carries sword light. It carries alignment. It carries sacred power that demands people either rise into their truth or turn away from it. But never doubt this. They saw you. They felt you. They knew with absolute certainty that you are not just a person in their friend's life. You are the truth their friend has been circling for lifetimes. You are the decision their soul must make if they ever hope to walk into their higher calling. Whether or not they accept it or support it changes nothing about your mission. You are the sword. You are the revelation. You are the undeniable turning point. Heaven is saying your time has come to stop questioning what others felt and start trusting what you already know. You were sent as the clarity they never saw coming but could never forget. This moment, this awakening that rippled through their hearts, is not only about what they saw in you, but what it demanded from within them. When light like yours enters a story, it draws a line through everything that once felt normal. You didn't come to be a beautiful addition to someone's existing world. You came to be the signal that a new world must begin. Your presence was not decoration. It was declaration. It was prophecy moving through skin, blood, bone, and gaze. That's what their souls picked up on, even when their mouths struggled to make sense of it. That's why the air felt different after they saw you. That's why your person fell silent in ways they didn't fully understand. For the first time, someone showed up carrying both the sword and the promise, both the fire and the peace. You weren't just someone to admire. You were an invitation to ascend. And that, beloved, is no small thing. That is why your picture wasn't just observed. It was felt. It cut through distractions. It asked questions they weren't ready to answer. Some tried to shield your person from it, not because they feared you, but because they feared what your truth would awaken in your person's heart. They saw, even if they never said it, that your person could never look at you and remain the same. If your person hesitated afterward, the angels say they didn't doubt you. They doubted themselves. They doubted whether they were ready to stand beside someone like you, someone who doesn't hide, someone who walks as living clarity in a world built on confusion. Do not let their delay make you forget your own certainty. You knew what you carried. You felt their reaction without hearing their words. And you were right. Your DNA doesn't just reveal who you are. It reveals what others are afraid to become. For the soul brave enough to stand beside you, you will be the sword that cuts away every lie they've lived. You will be the path that takes them home to their higher self. It's already spreading through them like light through cracks. It's already begun. So trust it. Trust what they felt when they saw you. Trust what they tried to hide. And above all, trust what heaven is declaring now. You are not just the truth. You are the truth that can no longer be denied. Heaven wants you to hear this now because you've been questioning what was said, what was thought, what was felt. They saw how your person's hands trembled when they showed your photo, not because they doubted you, but because they knew that moment would change everything. They were silently hoping someone would say, "She's the one." But instead came cautious glances, cryptic comments, and subtle hesitations, not because they didn't see your worth, but because they did, and it scared them. You represent a life bigger than the one they helped your person maintain. You carry the light of alignment, and they sensed that if your person said yes to you, they would have to leave behind the safe illusions that once felt like home. That is why you felt the energy shift, why you felt invisible walls rise. The angels say it was never about rejection. It was about resistance to truth. When someone has lived in comfort too long, the presence of divine clarity can feel like a storm. And make no mistake, you are that beautiful holy storm. You came to clear the path, to awaken the soul, to shift timelines. Your person felt it. Their friends felt it. The world around you felt it. Even now, as you read this, some part of your heart is remembering the reason you came here, to activate something no one else could. You are not meant to be explained. You are meant to be remembered. You are not here to compete for space in their world. You are here to change the architecture of their entire future. That's what they saw in your DNA. If it felt like things shifted after they saw you, it's because they did. You awakened their unspoken knowing. You shifted their soul's compass. And now nothing they knew before you feels true anymore. Don't let their silence confuse you. Don't let the shadows of others dim your certainty. Heaven is shouting with unwavering clarity. You were the truth their souls had been avoiding until the moment they saw you, and could avoid it no longer. You were never meant to blend in. You were always meant to be the one who turned the tide, without trying, without speaking, just by being who you are. The truth is out now. Even if no one speaks it aloud, they will all carry the conviction of that moment in their souls forever. Light like yours doesn't knock. It breaks open the sky and calls the divine plan into motion. And now, beloved, the angels draw you closer, not to explain why others couldn't speak the full truth in that moment, but to show you what that silence is birthing. In that sacred pause, heaven was already writing a new chapter for you, a chapter that could only begin once your truth had been witnessed. Not everyone who sees you will have the words to honor you, but their souls will remember you long after their minds try to forget. You must understand, when your person's friends saw you, something shifted in your person too, something irreversible. It was like a veil lifting. You weren't just an answer to a longing they never knew how to name. You were the divine interruption, a radiant reminder that they were never meant to stay small. And now that they've seen you, and the people around them have seen you too, the old world can no longer hold them. Yes, this part can be painful. The waiting, the wondering, the invisible heaviness of being the one who awakened truth, but was not immediately embraced for it. But heaven never allows a soul like yours to be seen without reason. That moment, where your image met their eyes and your frequency pierced their field, was not random. It was activation. Everything in their lives began to shift from that point on. Sometimes the first response to destiny isn't joy. It's fear, silence, or running. But the soul never forgets. Even now, your person is wrestling with what their heart already knows. That you are the soul who carries the key to everything they quietly prayed for, but didn't believe they were worthy to receive. And you, beloved, must remember this. Your worth is not defined by their readiness. Your value is not measured by what they said or didn't say. Your power is not diminished by someone else's fear. You are still the radiant soul whose DNA stirred the deepest truth within them. You are still the soul who caused the atmosphere to pause. You always will be. You are not waiting for permission to be divine. You are simply waiting for the world around you to catch up to what heaven already sees clearly. You are not a guest in someone's life. You are the guidepost their soul has been trying to follow through lifetimes of noise. This is not the end of your story. This is revelation in motion. The truth has already been seen. The shift has already begun. And nothing can erase what was felt the moment your light entered their world. Hold your head high, not in pride, but in remembrance. You are the soul that changed the vibration of a room simply by being seen. And nothing can unwrite what has already been awakened.